Hey guys, the Explorer Reporter here, Horror Boy 465. Welcome back to some more videos. And today, decided to do this with this cool broadcast idea that John came up with. Really cool idea. And I decided to do this broadcast tonight. And I got two guests joining me right now, and that is
John Grande.
Gideon Morbid.
And we're going to be having I think Steve said he'll join in a second, so Steve might join in here in a second. So RedBand Cast might be joining a little bit later. But yeah, John, if you wanted to start off, you could sort of introduce them into the horror roundtable and subjects and stuff.
Yeah, so basically what we're going to be doing is basically like we all have topics that we're going to talk about and then talk about our opinions of the questions we ask. So I'm going to have the opening topic. My topic is, what do you believe is the most overrated slasher film of all time and why? So, Horror Boy, why don't you start us off with answering that one?
Okay. For me, there's been a lot of slasher films that I've seen that have been, titled as like one of the best ones and stuff. And I've seen a lot of them. I've seen them through many different decades. I've seen them from the 90s, 80s. I know 70s was not really when slasher films were in. There were a few of them that sort of started up the slasher wave, like Black Christmas, Halloween, Kitchen Massacre, my favorite horror of all time. And I have not seen Black Christmas yet, and I have heard about it. But I think it really kicked in when the 80s came in. And you did have some stuff like One Night, you had My Bloody Valentine. And I've seen slasher films that were, and have a lot of praise now. They've been said to be some of the best ones. Now this one doesn't really. It's not considered one of the best ones. Well, I mean, I guess it would be. It's from. I would say that because I'm trying to think here, because a lot of them that I've seen, it's hard to narrow down the answer. But it's not really of all time, but it's one that I was talking to John Grande before this. What I think is all time, but as far as right now, I'm really having trouble thinking of another one. Well, actually, I do. I would say Jack Frost. It's a film from like the early 2000s. There's not too many slasher films that I do not like. I might think of another one while I'm talking about this, but I'm not too sure. Besides, really, would say the Jack Frost Killer Snowman flick from the early 2000s. I would say that's a pretty overrated slasher film. There's a lot of them that I really do enjoy, but as far as that goes, I would say Jack Frost. It's a movie that has a cult following. It's not really a big movie. It does get a low rating, but it has a cult following. I would say it's one that I feel is overrated because there are people that say that it is a really good film, that it is a classic, and that it is a really good slasher film that's hilarious and stuff. But in my personal opinion, I know it's not the most popular one, but it's the one that I've always thought was just very overrated because, yeah, it does get to be bad sometimes, but I've heard a lot of opinions about Jack Frost, not the one with Michael Keaton, the one that has a killer snowman. I've heard that one actually, from growing up with that Jack Frost, that was a decent one. But what I'm talking about is like the Killer Snowman one. It has a lot of bad effects in it, mainly because the main cover of the film is not even what the snowman looks like. Now, part of me says it's a good thing, part of me says it's a bad thing, because if you see the snowman on the front cover of Jack Frost, it looks cheesy. It looks so cheesy. And in the movie, it's done practically, but that's the thing. It doesn't even look like it's made out of real snow. It looks like it's made out of like styrofoam. It really does. And then the kills are pretty ridiculous. And I understand the movie is supposed to have humor. I've seen a lot of horror films with humor. I've seen, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's got humor in it. I've seen a lot of horror films with humor. But I would think that, because I really can't think of any other ones, because I love Friday the 13th, I love Halloween. Prom Night, the first film, it's said to be a classic. I think it's a classic, but I don't think it's as good as Prom Night 2. Um, I haven't seen some other ones like The Burning. I have not seen The Burning yet. I have not seen Terror Train yet. I haven't seen a lot of them. I've seen a lot of them, but I haven't seen a lot of the big ones yet. But I would say that even this movie isn't said to be like an absolute classic. It's a movie that gets said to be. I've seen reviews of it where people say, "Oh yeah, it's a great slasher film, and it's really funny and hilarious." I just never really got that because when I watched Jack Frost Killer Snowman flick, I never really laughed. I never really thought it was humorous. Like the jokes I thought were just corny. They weren't really funny. And the effects are horrible. The kills are just ridiculous. The score and the acting is bad.
I think a lot of people like it in a way because it's like it's so bad it's good kind of people. Like that's kind of the draw to it, like a Troll 2 kind of draw. But I don't like every time I think of that movie. Do you remember the old Nesta commercials with the iced tea of the snowman snowboarding down the mountain at the end? He drank the fucking that's what this movie reminds me of for some weird fucking peculiar reason. But that commercial is a lot better than this movie. I totally agree. I think Jack Frost is like an undeserving cult movie. To me, it's kind of just so bad it's bad. Like I don't get really much enjoyment.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a lot of people love the scene where he freezes the bitch in the bathtub. Like she's like she's like she's like, oh, I guess people just enjoy that. Like I don't know. Like I think it's just funny to say. It's not really it's not like wow when you see it. You know, it's not like Troll 2 when she seduces that fucking nerdy guy with the fucking corn, and then the corn on the cob starts becoming popcorn because it's heating up. Like I mean now that's funny, but I don't know. Jack Frost I totally agree, and I like the Michael Keaton one for the record.
Yeah, that one's actually a good movie, like a legitimate a good movie.
They came out at the same time, like a few years apart.
Yeah, that's what's so funny is like you would go to get okay, so let's say on the Christmas list someone wants Jack Frost. You say, all right, I'm gonna look at Jack Frost. You go look at these two movies. You look at one, Michael Keaton, the family. And then you got Jack Frost, the Killer Snowman slasher film, rated R,
raping women in the
snowman. Yeah, with the snowman, really enough, like you said in that shower scene, like doing some things in the shower. Just say that to a girl, and involves that.
Yeah. How about you, Gideon? What do you think?
Well, I mean, the movie was pretty good. I mean, it reminds me of the old Campbell commercial with that kid who lived out in the snow. And he goes inside, he gets unmelted. And underneath it, you see this ginger kid who's like... you see this creepy little ginger kid. Oh, God, put the snow back on him.
And he puts this chicken soup, right? That's what melts him off.
Put the snow back on him. Better like that. But all in all, I grew up around the time when VHSs were going out. And my mom one time bought this R-rated movie. Thought it was a kid's film. I sat there and watched that thing full. And my true opinion, how could that actually happen? Like, I mean, you know, he's a prisoner and he got hit with the toxins and became that Jack Frost. And I was like, how can that happen? I mean, is this like some Spider-Man 2 shit?
Yeah.
I'm going to get you, Spider-Man.
That even made more sense than this did, though. Like it's just so fucking random. It's just the setup in it.
How do you get to the bathtub?
I mean, I guess that's the best scene because he's just like, you fucked me all my life. Now I'm gonna fuck you, and she's just like, oh, and I just like,
oh my God,
and the carrot is missing. The carrot was missing.
Yeah.
Oh God.
She should have shaved the carrot a little bit better, man.
Wait.
Happy Leaf Eric.
But hey, Gideon, what would your overrated slasher film be? One that you think is very overrated?
I gotta get one. I would have to go with something I grew up with for a very long time, And Tate, I did fear this as a child. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh.
What?
Oh, wow.
What?
I used to be afraid of that movie. I did. It scared the hell out of me.
Really?
I mean, it's so traumatizing, though, man. The first part of the movie film.
Oh, yeah.
It's that kid right down there. And just, he watches his parents get murdered by this guy in a Santa Claus costume. And you see him as years later as a very, pretty much, he's kind of crazy now.
Well, because
Not see Santa Claus.
the scenes when he's in the school with the nuns, that's
Oh god!
like he's watching like that couple have sex, and then like
I want to kill that nun. I want to see that nun get killed, dude.
Oh yes! Oh, she's such a bitch. Mother Superior.
She deserved it.
Oh, Mother Superior.
She handcuffed him to his bed.
Yeah. What the fuck? What kind of a nun ties a kid to his bed? And like that couple's having sex, and then she barges in and she's like beats them with a ruler.
Oh,
she beats the kid. The kid didn't even do anything.
I like when he's in the store and they give him the suit and like he's like, "Don't be naughty." Like he's just the girl's on his lap.
And then those guys are on that snowboard, just like naughty.
Yeah. He decapitates that guy on the sled.
The best one of that movie. The best
Linnea Quigley.
movie.
We're about to look at the Linnea Quigley scene.
Oh.
The best
deer
one.
antlers.
Oh god.
The antlers, man. And he breaks through that door and like throws the boyfriend out the window.
They have like a fist fight too. They're like having a fist fight.
So what about it? What about it didn't you like, Gideon?
Well, I mean, you know, I like any killer sound like the next guy. But I mean, I felt like he should have murdered the nun.
Yes, I agree with that.
Exactly.
He
should have just ran there with an axe and just chopped her head off.
Yeah, I think that would have been a better ending. And then maybe he gets shot, you know?
Well, I mean, his brother got to kill Mother Superior in part 2. So it actually went full circle in part 2.
I love the ending.
So the makeup on her. I've seen that that clip before. Her makeup looks very weird in the second movie. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I guess
she should have been killed off.
I agree. I agree with that because her character was like it almost. I agreed that they waited till the end to threaten her life. Like his whole journey was to get to her. And like I'm like, oh my god, we've been waiting 90-something minutes for this, and then he gets shot, and it's like I think that movie is you're not really against the villain.
Yeah,
like he's kind of like because you feel bad for him, right? Like I mean,
he's been screwed up in the head.
His family was murdered, and
right in front of him and his little brother.
Yeah, and like you kind of cheer for him, and he doesn't really kill anybody that's too innocent. Like the one guy.
Yeah.
He kills the 2 bullies on the snowboard, so that's justice. Fuck bullies. He kills the guy that's trying to rape the girl in the store. Like I don't know. Like I think he was like kind of a anti-hero, if anything.
I loved it though because he was like, you see that ending scene. He's like, he still his little brother, and he's like, naughty.
Yeah. If the
I'm like, oh my god, yes.
I'm sure there's probably another slasher film that I could have picked. Like I really couldn't think of one because I've seen a lot of them, but most of them I like. But
there's
I would
8
say
Silent
that
Night
one
movies.
definitely that one.
Well, I can understand why people do find Silent Night, Deadly Night a little like overrated because like honestly, I think the sequel has a little bit more going for it because it's just so bad. Yeah. It's great. But I do kind of like I like that they give the character a little bit of a background and they give him a little bit of a motivation. And there's like 80s montages in there. There's good creative kills. Like there's good. Like I think there are some things that are redeemable about that movie. But the one that I picked for most overrated slasher movie of all time, I picked Madman. And I know it's to the dismay of a lot of people don't agree, but I don't know what it is about that movie. I can't get into it. I've tried.
I've never seen Madman before. Been wanting to though. I know I've seen the poster. I haven't seen the trailer yet, but I've been interested in seeing it.
Gideon looks shocked, man. Gideon's like, "What the hell?" I know Dead Pit will be very ashamed of me for not being a fan of this movie, but I don't know. Like, okay, the setup of it is good, and the song in it is good, but for me, that's where the positives really end. Like, you don't have good acting. The final girl is just terrible. Other than one kill, the hood of the car kill, there's not any real memorable kills in it. I do like the bitch that hides in the fridge, though. That's one of the best. Like, she's just run away from Madman. She just jumps in a fucking fridge. And I'm just like,
are you serious?
I swear to God, I'm like, why would you hide in a refrigerator? Like, of all the places.
I can't go anywhere.
I guess she was like,
I'm gonna kill her.
He won't look in the
I'm gonna give some out of the fridge to drink.
Yeah.
There you are!
I thought it would have been funny, like, if that was like how the scene ended, like he opened the fridge and was like, "Give me that ice."
There you are.
Yeah, ice cream is. Oh yeah, it's over here. See you later. Huh?
Yeah, it's right to the left of me.
What?
But I don't know. Like, I do find the song iconic, and I do. I think the setup is good, but it's just a movie that bores me. I cannot get into it. Like, and I tried. I'm always like, okay, I'm gonna like it this time, and like no matter what. And I just never. It's just boring to me. Like, and I know that a lot of people love it, and they say it's one of the most underrated slashers. But I'll say that I kind of think that all the press it's got, and documentary and special edition Blu-ray releases, I kind of think it's overrated. I don't know. Would you defend it, Gideon? Like, how would you?
I mean, I have to agree with you though, man. I mean, it was pretty. I didn't really enjoy it that much, but I mean, it was pretty good.
I'm the only one here who hasn't seen it yet.
I mean, maybe you could be the tiebreaker. I mean, I understand that like slasher movies aren't always so technically great. Like, I understand that. Like, if you watch, me and Nate were talking about some of the After Dark Horror Fest slasher movies. They're not the greatest, but they have boobs and blood, and that's usually mayhem, fucking decapitations, a lot of blood. I mean, that's the recipe for a good slasher movie. But
yeah,
and Mad Men had these things, but I just don't know why. I just always was just kind of like, the whole movie is basically people looking for other people. It's like, oh, Jan went to go get this car. I'm gonna go look for her. Oh, Bobby, look for Jan. I'm gonna go look for Bobby. Oh, and it just basically until you run out of characters, until you're down to Alexis Dubin's ass, who was in Dawn of the Dead, and then I don't know, like it's generic. Like, and I know that some slashers are, and I know it is good in a lot of people's eyes, but I don't know, that one I just always like, I can't get into this for some reason. But I don't know. I think it's just me. I really do. I think I'm alone on that one because a lot of people seem to enjoy it.
I'm with you, man.
God bless you, Gideon.
Did it get a Scream Factory release?
What's that?
Didn't it get a Scream Factory release?
No, The Burning did, and like a lot of fans of Madman were upset that Madman didn't get a release. But I think The Burning is far superior when you talk, because those two movies are rivaled a lot, and I like The Burning a lot more. You had better kills in The Burning, better characters, a better ending, a better killer with the shears and the fucking Tom Savini effects. I just like that movie.
I see.
It's shot better. It's just made better. Okay, it doesn't have a great song, but it has a good score. I don't know. I dig Burning over Madman, but a lot of people disagree. So I guess I'm in the minority, but I don't mind. I mean, I guess it is what it is. But you want to go to the next topic?
Sure.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Gideon, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Before we start this up, I just want to say one thing. I got me a VHS today. I bought me a copy of Zombie Flesh Eaters on VHS.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What?
Oh,
Wish.
Got it.
How much?
Love that movie.
I paid about $20 for the shipping and pricing.
Do you have it on you?
Fullmoondirect.com.
Do you have it on you?
No, I mean still being shipped out.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I didn't see that.
You know Full Moon Features?
Yeah.
I went to their wizardvideo.com and they found a crate from the 1980s filled with old, like, Pulp Fiction, black, old horror films.
Really?
Never been opened.
Wow.
Lost for 20 years. And they're selling them.
Wow.
They got the old pornos they'll make.
We
got
gotta watch
Texas
those.
Chainsaw VHSs.
Really?
No, they got one that's called Cinderella. And it won 5 Grammys. How the hell did it do that? It's all directed by Charles Band. And there is some suspicious scandals going wrong with him, but whatever. Okay, one of my topics is going to be, what's a horror movie character that really scared the hell out of you? It can be a monster, alien, a hellish beast, something.
Ooh, that's a good one. Want to start off, Nate, or you want me to go?
You can go if you want to, man.
Immediately the one that comes to mind for me is Patrick Bateman in American Psycho.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, when we watch other movies, I mean, of course, Freddy Krueger scared me when I was a kid. There's no denying that. Michael Myers scared me as a kid. There's no denying that either. Jason, I always had fun with. Jason never really scared me. I always thought Jason was like, all right, man, I'm gonna see some titties and motherfuckers gonna get chopped off, and I'm just gonna find myself. But Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, the first few minutes of that movie, holy shit, it sets such a tone. Like, he's in the bar, and I think he tells the guy what he wants to drink, and the guy goes, pardon me? And he goes, you're a stupid bitch, and I'm going to slit your throat and cut your head off, you stupid bitch. And like he says something along those lines to the bartender. And then the guy just hands him his drink with no it's just like, what? And then, like, he has sex with those 2 prostitutes and, like, beats the shit out of them. And, like, and then the whole movie is just very, like, he's in the shower and he peels that shit off his face. I think what's so scary about the character is, one, that he looked such like a normal Abercrombie and Fitch guy, you know? Like, he cared about his skin. He cared about his appearance. He cared about his business card. He was so obsessed with his business card. All these things. And then by night, he's a crazy serial murderer that's cooking up some brains in a fucking pan. I mean,
Me when I'm 20.
Yeah.
I mean, what a like, you like Huey Lewis on the news?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it is. In '87, Huey released 4, their most accomplished album. I think it's an unrepeated masterpiece. It is hip to be square, a song so catchy that people might not listen to the lyrics. But there should be, because it's just not about the pleasures of conformity, Allie, and importance of the trends. It's also a permanent statement about the band itself. Hey, Paul, try getting a reservation at Reese's now, you fucking stupid bastard!
That kill, it just catches you out of nowhere. You're like, whoa! And the kill with the kitten. I mean, I'm sure a lot of animal loyalists.
Oh God!
He reads the ATM. It says, like, feed me a kitten, and he takes this random kitten and he's like, get in there, like.
God.
You would think that a guy shoving a kitten into an ATM would be very comical, but to me, I find it disturbing. Like, the whole movie is very uneasy. I mean, everything.
I bought the copy of it yesterday.
What's that?
I bought a copy of it yesterday.
Oh, did you?
I'm gonna watch it tonight. Oh God,
it's a good one, man. Because that movie is a perfect character study on the American Psycho that looks like a normal, everyday, average Joe, but by night is an absolute crazy serial killer on the level of a Leatherface. You know, and there's a scene where he's doing sit-ups and he's watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the morning. Like,
that'd be me.
Yeah, like scenes like that. Like, I think what the director, who was a female, I forget her name, but she was able to really capture that realistic feeling with that character study. And I think that Patrick Bateman's one of the scariest horror movie characters of all time. I really think they hit the nail on the head with that one. Like, that is a perfect character study because it's not over the top. It feels real. And Christian Bale's performance in it is fucking Oscar-worthy, man. That is one of the best.
I started watching that movie, but I don't think I finished it. But I do agree with what you guys are saying. Like, the feel of the movie, the tone of the movie. I didn't finish it yet, but from what I've freaking seen so far, it's a freaking crazy movie. But Christian Bale freaking surprised me because before that, I did not see that movie. I seen Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. I seen Terminator
Rest in peace, Heath Ledger.
Salvation. I seen all of these movies,
Yes!
and then I seen freaking American Psycho, and then I was like, "This is freaking! Oh my god!" I was like, "Oh god, what the?" It was a really crazy experience. I don't think I finished watching it though, but I definitely got to finish watching that movie. I think I started watching it, but I didn't finish watching it yet.
It's a good one, man. I recommend you watch it, and it's definitely the character that scared me the most. Like it got under my skin. Like it really freaked me the hell out. But yeah, that's the one that always comes to mind because it's so well done. But how about you, Nate? What do you think?
Well, when I was a kid growing up, like the one that really scared me because Michael Myers, Jason, I would say that, the one that really scared me, the one that just freaking, and it used to be before I seen this film. I'll give you guys a hint. It's my favorite movie, my favorite horror movie of all time.
Oh, I know it is.
Before I seen this movie, the one that really scared me was Pennywise the Clown. Now, that scared me for the longest time. And then I seen the original Texas Massacre. And I didn't know anything about the movie. I only seen one of the trailers a while before I actually seen the movie. And when I watched the movie, there's a point in the movie where the character Kurt, he walks into the house, classic scene, and he walks up to this door. I'm thinking, all right, what's he going to go back there and investigate? Because, horror movies now, they don't do this. They have it to where, they're investigating, all in the quick kill. No, this movie sets it up very well because you think, he's going to go back there and investigate and see what's going on. And Leatherface pops out of nowhere, and there's no music. There's nothing like that. You see a quick shot of Leatherface that hits him in the head. I remember being a kid and just going, and then he drags him into there and he closes the door. And I remember being like a kid watching this movie. I was like, what was that? So I was like, what did I just see? And that was really the moment that really scared me. But ever since then, Leatherface is my favorite horror movie character of all time. But definitely the one that creeped me out the most growing up was Leatherface because the idea. Because I hate chainsaws. They scare the crap out of me if I'm at a haunted house place.
I mean, who wouldn't hate chainsaws?
He cut people's faces because all the other killers, they wore masks. Freaking Leatherface didn't. He wore a mask, but it was made out of freaking human faces and skin. So that was a creepy thing. He was a butcher. Really creepy element.
Transsexual.
Brought all together, made a very creepy character. So my answer would be Leatherface.
I totally.
That's a good choice.
That is a good choice because it's not a character that. It's a character that was able to become scary without saying anything. And it was a character via the actions. We never hear Leatherface say anything in that scene where he hits, the guy with the fucking sledgehammer. But I think it's the actor's performance. It's he twitching and he pulls him in and how he slams the door. Oh my God. I mean, that's stuff of legend because it's real. That's how it would really happen. It wouldn't be any one-liner, no welcome to prime time.
Yeah.
I mean, as good as, all those Freddy's lines are, I mean, those are more for entertainment value. But for the realism factor, you got to go Leatherface. I think Leatherface is, and I've had dreams where I'm the one with my head in the bucket and Grandpa's trying to hit me with the hammer. And I'm the one that jumps out the window, and Leatherface is after me with the hitchhiker slicing up my back from behind.
I'm sorry, man.
It's just, man. I had that dream one night. I mean, I was like terrified, man. I was like, man, I don't know if I could ever watch Texas Chainsaw again. I eventually got over.
It was just as young as I was when I first seen that movie, and I never really heard about it. I always heard about. I seen 2, I seen 4. I seen the remake, I seen the prequel, I don't think 3D was out at the time. But I already seen those movies. And Leatherface, for some reason, those movies didn't really creep me out as much as it was in the first movie. And I was like, it's an original movie. I'm gonna go back. I went back and I watched it, and I never really heard about the movie. I heard that there was an original Texas Massacre, but I never really knew much about it. And then I sat down for like the first time to watch that movie and freaking scared the crap because it's a movie that ever since then there's only been a few movies to top that realism, to top that intensity, to top that realistic feel, that rawness. I think like it really stuck with horror film history after that. Like it really was a big impact on horror films.
I absolutely agree.
Gunnar Hansen was amazing.
I totally agree. Leatherface is one of the top 3, top 5 for sure. How about you, Gideon? Though, what's your scariest?
Okay,
I'm dying to hear
mine
this.
mine might not be that human as your guys, but it scared the hell out of me. The movie of the creature that really scared me out was TerrorVision.
Oh,
That alien. Oh God, dude. That thing followed me around in my dreams. That thing's. I'm a vivid fan of horror. I'm scared the hell of that thing. I would never want to be locked in a room with that thing.
really?
I mean, it's so freaky looking. It looks like a cross between a dog and a chicken.
Yeah.
And that part where you see it under the water, and it just pulls that guy down by his dick.
If I haven't seen TerrorVision yet, I'm going to look up that creature. See what it looks like. I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like. That's called the TerrorVision.
TerrorVision. It's the most scariest movie I've ever seen. I mean, I watched it when I was about 6. All alone. In the dark.
Oh my God.
Look at that thing!
One eyeball is huge, one eyeball is small. Holy crap.
It's got one on its hand, dude. Ah!
Dude.
And the creepiest part about it, though,
The thing is
it
ugly.
can make people's hands on its head. Hands. It had people's heads on its hands and replicate their voices.
Yeah.
That was just creepy.
TerrorVision's a movie I haven't seen in a long time. I saw it when I was really young, but it is, definitely, it packs a punch. That monster is terrifying, man. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's so well done.
I mean, it's a sad movie too, dude. Everybody dies.
Yeah, it's a depressing. It all ends on a downer. I actually would like to see TerrorVision again. I haven't seen it in years.
It's still not Shout.
It got released by Shout Factory?
Yeah, I think they're going to be releasing it this year.
Oh, cool.
It's going to have like a special collector's cover.
Oh,
I collect collector's covers.
Oh yeah, me too. I have tons of the Shout Factory stuff. I don't buy all of it, but I get as much as I can.
What really freaked me out about this movie though was how powerful this thing was.
Yeah,
and it goes for TVs.
There was really no way to hurt it.
Yeah, and it was afraid of metal because that guy holds up some metal thing and he's like, "Get it back!" I think this backs up because it reminds me of its master. And the only guy who can save them gets killed.
Yeah.
And then the next morning you see that thing took the form of that girl, and they're going to the TV station. Ends right there. You don't know if it took over the Earth.
Man, you make me really want to watch it now. I wonder if it's on Amazon Prime or something.
I heard they're making a sequel.
I'm kind of curious to see it myself, man.
It's a good one.
God.
I haven't seen it in years, but I definitely really would like to watch it now. Gideon's inspired me to want to watch it.
I mean, the messed up part about it, though, dude, their fate was sealed as soon as they ate human food.
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime for free. There we go. I'm watching it later.
You know that, dude? I mean, the saddest part about it, though, man, their fate was sealed as soon as they ate the grandpa.
It's true.
It cannot consume human meat.
Yeah.
Where it craves it.
I totally agree, man. That's one monster that absolutely, it's different too. It has different rules apply, but we
need to get the guy from the thing to come kill that thing.
Yeah.
Wait for over. I know this may sound foul, but I wouldn't want to spend. Couch! Best line of that movie.
Dude, I'm gonna watch it later. I'm absolutely excited because
That's freaking couch. I'd be the same way. Oh gosh, but that is a scary monster.
I agree. I think all three of our choices were pretty lit. We covered everything from like scary monsters to real life serial killers to skin wearing chainsaw motherfuckers. So, all right, Nate, what's your topic?
Would be what do you guys think is the in horror history, in your guys' opinion? What is your guys' opinion on one of the I think you're gonna say it, but the greatest horror movie moment of all time? Would be the greatest horror movie moment, the one that you guys think really, really impacted horror history?
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Yeah, let's do this.
Go for it,
okay. And the best line I ever heard was this. Or the best moment in this. This is the best moment. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Oh. Well,
Awesome.
Night of the Living Dead, baby.
I love the line, hello, with anyone there, with that guy just screaming in that microphone, hello! Wait. It's like...
He's crazy. Everybody who's watching, Gideon's the man.
Hello! Gideon's anyone there? Hello! That was the best moment.
What about the they're coming to get you? Really?
Oh, dude, that was just amazing. I still praise George Romero.
Yeah, me too. I got Dawn of the Dead beanie on. So.
Legendary director.
Over. Dawn of the Dead.
First there was Night of the Living Dead. Then the darkest day in horror the world has ever known. Day of the Dead. That would be a tough question for me, Nate. But I always go back to a little movie by the name of Cannibal Holocaust. And
oh gosh.
There's one scene in it that I believe it's the greatest single scene / moment, we could say moment as well, in horror history. And it's the scene after they got done. Well, actually, there's two that I would put up there, but this one would be the main one. I'll mention the other one in passing when I'm done. But they get done raping that poor girl in the middle of the jungle, and she's all covered in mud and all this stuff. And then the next thing you see is the people watching it, and they say, "We're changing films," and they say, "Okay." And the first thing you see is a pan shot from trees over to that girl who's impaled on that stick, and her mouth is open. Her mouth is open like this. I could pull up the visual for people who have not seen it. Yeah, it's a tough one to watch.
I'm not gonna touch it.
I've never seen it.
I've heard about it. I ain't gonna touch it.
I will say this: it's the most shocking, the most grotesque, and the most disturbing movie I've ever seen.
Oh God!
That's what the scene looks like.
Surreal.
But
yeah, it's a really, really grotesque scene. I know what you mean, man. It's freaking so impactful.
They pan from the beautifulness of the forest. I don't know if you guys are big environment people, but it's a really nice shot of the woods, and then you see that. Then you see the horror of that, and this poor girl. And then the next shot you see is the lead filmmaker. They're walking around the girl impaled on the pole. And this guy, the lead guy, just has this look on his face, and it's just he just goes, and he's like, hell yeah! Like, he doesn't say it, but his face is like, this is some good shit, man. And then the guy with the camera says, "Stop smiling, man. We're rolling." And then his smile immediately turns to this serious expression, this serious tone, where he says, like, "Oh, this is disgusting. This is terrible. How could they do things like this? You know, these cannibals have sick primitives." And but the real horror was in his face, the enjoyment that he got, the sick pleasure that he got from seeing that woman impaled on the pole. Yeah, it was her reaction of hell yeah. That it's like every time I watch it, it's so disturbing, and it speaks volumes as to everything that I believe the horror genre is about. It's not about that girl impaled on the pole. It's about the psychopath laughing on the ground, pointing up at the pole, laughing at it, almost as if, it's not a serious deal. I mean, it's great. It's the greatest moment in horror history because you're able to realize that this guy wasn't a human. This guy was something worse. This guy was one of the cannibals, not the people that put her up there. It was the guy smiling at it. I just think that's horror done to perfection. And I don't think Ruggiero Deodato's Cannibal Holocaust will ever be topped when it comes to sick, gory, and psychological horror. Nobody ever mentions that, but it's psychologically fucking damaging. I love that.
Yes.
That's my number
I'm
one
gonna have to look at that scene.
horror movie moment. It absolutely is.
Like we said,
I think it
Panned
was
Out
a
from the
movie
Forest.
though, like.
What'd you say, Gideon?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Like we said, it was Panned Out from the Forest. You ever play Doom?
Yes, I have.
The original Doom?
Yeah, the original Doom, yeah.
It reminds me when you close out the portal, you see this bunny with a bunch of flowers.
Yeah.
It starts panning out to the World Trade Center on fire with the portal open up. You see that
Yes.
bunny's head is on a stick.
Yes. It's the same effect. It's the same.
It says like horror. It says,
You see,
what do you think might have happened while you was on hell when Earth was alone? And I'm like, oh my god. This guy went through hell and back, and he comes back to Earth.
that's the point of it. It's the whole point of it is it's like, oh, here's beauty, here's horror. How did we get there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think there's with Cannibal Holocaust, man. I've already done a review on it, but that was one of the very few movies that I've never ever had to prepare myself to see a film before. Like I've always been, oh yeah, there's a movie, I'll just watch it. I'll watch this movie. But no. When it came down to me going, okay, you know what? I think this time I'm gonna try and get through Cannibal Holocaust because I heard stories. I've heard many stories about many viewing experiences of Cannibal Holocaust. And I literally had to prepare myself. I was like, okay, I'm about to sit down and watch a movie that was really enough way ahead of its time because movies like did not show that much before. Even though there were movies like Last House on the Left, that also set a standard. But I think Cannibal Holocaust also set a very high standard on how grotesque it really could be. But I think Cannibal Holocaust has so much going. Like it, I think it's I can't talk tonight, but a technical good horror film. I think it's well made. I think it's very well made. I think the message it's trying to prove was handled very well. But I really can't say I don't want to really own it. I also don't want to say that I really can't watch a lot. But I would say this: it was one of the most horror movie viewing experiences I've had, and just a little warning to you guys out there: if you guys do happen to see that film, just be careful, be ready for it. It's a pretty powerful film. But I think it really I agree with you, man. It really does show true horror. Grotesque level. It really is. It's horror at its most grotesque level. But I think at the same time, it also, the way that it was done, shot in the real Amazon, with sometimes, I think with real people, like real villages and real cannibals, and I think it just added that sense of just it felt so realistic that I think it would even top Texas Massacre in that realism because of how real. And it just everything felt very real. There was a few effects. Honestly, there's not as many as some people say there is. Some people say there's a lot of effects to be realistic. I maybe see one effect, and that was the ending of the film where they chop the girl's head off and they hold it up. That was probably the one that kind of looked a little bit fake. The rest of them I thought looked absolutely real. Like I could not figure out they took them to court, I believe, because they got, the director got charged with murder.
The director was sued. They thought the director killed that girl. Like,
yeah.
Could you imagine? could you imagine like them taking James Wan to court over Insidious? You know, like could you imagine that? Like it's just And there are scenes in that movie where they force the abortion on that girl, and they take they just you see somebody take a pile of mud, they throw the fetus in there, and then they throw the mud over. If you show that to the feminists of today, and God bless them, I understand they're fighting for stuff, but show them that. Jesus, I mean, it's wild. It's crazy, but it's not. A lot of people, I think, miss the point of it. It's like everybody's like, "Oh, it's sick and it's disturbing," but they don't see
giving out a message.
Brilliance. There's brilliance there. Ruggiero Deodato was not a dumb person. Ruggiero Deodato understood what true horror was, and I think
he was going to show how true horror was. Man.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Last House on the Left. That would be my second if I ever had to pick something that comes close. There's the scene in that movie where he gets done raping Mary Krug, and he gets up and he's brushing the dirt and blood and grass off his hands, and you hear that music playing, and he kind of looks down at himself, and they kind of look at him, and like you see that he's verbally disgusted. He's physically disgusted in everything that he just did, and it's the same kind of message. It's the same kind of thing. It's like these people are humans, and they realize it's not all about being crazy psycho madman killers. We have feelings too. Even killers have feelings, and when you show emotional sides to a killer, and we feel as an audience feel emotion for them, we feel sick to our stomachs. That's the brilliance of that scene. I think both that movie and Cannibal Holocaust, the two greatest single moments in horror history. But
definitely.
What would you say? What would you say is yours, Dave?
Well, mine would be from this is a film that has been said to be a slasher film. I personally would not say it's slasher film. I know people who wouldn't say it's slasher film. But for me, the greatest moment in horror film history, it is really just the whole movie. But I think it's also the very end of the film. It's Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Now, I would say this is the greatest horror movie moment is the ending of the film, where you realize that it was not Norman Bates' mom. It was Norman Bates himself, and not only that was the impacting. Because when I was watching Psycho, I noticed the difference between that and other horror films that came out before it. Psycho brought, and I was surprised by this, Psycho brought a very realistic horror film out. And it was about how Norman Bates was treated. It was about how Norman Bates was affected by what his mom was doing. And it was about how it was a very real thing. It was not monsters, not aliens, it was not creatures, which there were good movies in all those subjects, but it was a movie that came out that nobody realized, that nobody expected it being that real, the film. Because when you watch it, there's no spectacular, all these explosions and creatures everywhere. No, it's a very subtle experience with a really great score, really, really creepy moments in my opinion. And for it being such an older film, I really did not expect that to have so many moments where you're going, okay, this movie was definitely ahead of its time. It was very realistic. Norman Bates was didn't know, I already knew about the twist to the film. I already knew that it was Norman Bates. I don't really know who doesn't know that anymore, because it's become so mainstream that everyone knows, well, pretty much everyone. If you don't know it, then I won't spoil it, but the twisting to the film, I think everybody almost knows it. But I would say the ending of the film Psycho was one of the greatest moments, because it made you realize that the twist was freaking amazing. Because at the time, it was a twist that caused the theater to where if you went home, you had to take a promise that you would not tell anyone the ending of the film. It was a movie where you had to make sure that you came in and you saw the whole film, or you seen it from beginning to end. You could not see it halfway. They literally would lock the theater up when Psycho started, and they would unlock it Well, they would lock up the Psycho screening, but they would not lock up like the whole theater. But they would lock down the Psycho screening until the very end. I mean, it was just a horror film that at the time was a big deal. Now, would I consider it to be a slasher film? I would not. I would consider it to be a great horror film. But would I consider it to be a slasher film? I would not say it's a slasher film because two death scenes, and I don't really view it as a slasher film. Especially watching it, I viewed it as a very suspenseful, well-made horror film. But I would say the greatest moment is the ending of Psycho because you realize that this was a very emotional thing where that Norman Bates was affected by whatever his mom was doing, and that it ended up being it was not always the great ending where the bad guys are done. I mean, it was in a way, but you sort of felt it felt very dark ending because the ending credits is them taking out the car out of the mud or the quicksand. And then the movie ends with that. So it's just a very effective ending that I think was just great. But was I personally shocked by it? I would just say that looking back on it, I could see why it was so shocking. And it's, in my opinion, one of the greatest endings I've seen is the ending of Psycho because it made you realize that at the time when all these crazy monster movies were coming out, this movie came out and was like, no, this person is a real person. It's a human. It goes back to what what you were saying, John, about American Psycho. I mean, this person, Norman Bates, was just a normal guy running a hotel, a little suspicious here and there, saying some weird things. But you wouldn't have, if back in the day, you wouldn't have thought he was a full-fledged, killer. I'm sure it surprised people a lot, probably. So my pick for the greatest moment in horror movie history to Psycho because it was so impacting. It was just realizing, hey, holy crap, this movie was way ahead of its time. So I'd say the ending of Psycho is my pick.
That's a really good one. I really, really enjoy that last scene where it's Norman's mother, and she's, over speaking the whole thing, and they kind of pan to Norman, and she's like, and they'll say I wouldn't even hurt a fly. It's his performance in that final scene where he just looks down, looks up, and it's not over the top. It's the perfect mood fitting. It fits that mood. It's just perfect as he smiles, and then it pans to them pulling the car out of the muck. I mean, that's iconic shot of horror. It's his face. It's that face, that shot, that scene transcended horror out of the 1950s era, like you were saying, of movies like Them, movies like the Godzilla movies, stuff like that. Like that was all considered cheesy now because now we had this whole new real thing about this guy that runs this motel that's fucking killing bitches in the shower, dressing up like his mother. I mean, could you imagine 1960 seeing that? I mean, a good story about Psycho. Crazy. My grandmother went to see Psycho 8 months pregnant.
Really?
Yeah. And she apparently saw that fucking shower scene and flipped the shit and got out of that theater. And apparently her water broke when she got in the car.
Oh,
God.
And the baby was born premature because of Psycho. Psycho scared my grandmother so bad that she gave birth early, 1 month. I swear to God, that is a true story. I just think
awesome.
It's insane. It's just one of those movies that's it's just a good tone throughout the whole thing, and that last iconic image of Anthony Perkins smiling. That smirk transcended horror into a new era. And that's something that I definitely agree with you. It's a very powerful horror movie moment.
Would you say would you consider it to be a slasher film?
No, it's not a slasher film. It's a proto-slasher. It's because it's not when I think slasher, I think a bunch of stupid fucking kids that are minorities, and then one by one they get picked off and the virgin chick lives. That's a slasher. I you could I don't even know if you could really consider I mean, there are certain movies that are considered slashers that I would never consider slashers, and Psycho is definitely one of them. I don't think so. Psycho is a psychological thriller.
Exactly.
That's what it is. I don't consider it's a proto slasher. It definitely inspired it. I mean, that shower scene it screams slasher movie, but nothing else really in it says that. But let's go to the next topic. Who's next? Is it me again? Is it back to me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That was the best topic by far too. That was a good one. I didn't even think of that. It's funny because it's so like obvious. It's like, what's your favorite horror movie moment? But I don't know why. That was a tough one to think
That's what I thought about because like there's so many to choose from. It's like, yeah, I mean, there's that. There's the Halloween, the great chase scene in the Halloween for me. The greatest scene in that movie is when Michael Myers is chasing Jamie Lee Curtis. And the Friday the 13th ending. There's just so much to choose from. I was just like, I'd be interested to bring up. Like, hey, what's your favorite horror movie?
So jumping off that, before I was asking you all about overrated slasher movies. I figured I'd switch gears a little bit, go to television. My favorite horror movie show of all time, well, I guess just horror show, not horror movie show, would be The Twilight Zone. I'm a big fan of The Twilight Zone. I don't know if you guys have seen all of them. Oh, okay. At least I know Gideon has. If something tells me that you've seen them.
Tim all.
Oh, me too. Yeah. What would you say is your most underrated Twilight Zone episode of all time, and why? This is a tough one. A lot of people, when you talk about the best ones, I mean, it's usually the same in Maple Street and Eye of the Beholder and To Serve Man. I mean, those are all the ones that are obviously good ones, but I would like to hear what you think ones that people miss out on.
Oh.
If you're familiar with the show. Are you familiar with it, Nate?
I've only seen a couple of episodes. Like, I've been watching a little bit of them. I've seen the first 3, and then I've seen the one with the hitchhiker episode where the girl is being stuck with the hitchhiker. And I've seen that episode, but I haven't seen the whole TV show.
How about like have you seen Tales from the Dark Side, Nate?
Oh
no, I've seen the movie. I've seen the movie.
Okay, Gideon. Okay, you got to give me your most underrated Twilight Zone and Tales from the Dark Side episode.
yes,
go for it, man.
My underrated Twilight Zone episode is Time Enough at Last.
Underrated. That one's like considered one of the best, I thought.
I mean, it's really underrated. You never really see people like really talk about it that much. I mean, it's been done in Family Guy. They did a cameo of that.
Yeah, the last brain cell.
Oh gosh, yeah. And then you see, I mean, it's such a good episode. You see this guy who's working at a bank who loves to read, and he closes himself up in a vault to get away from everyone. He hears a large bang. The apocalypse just happened. He goes out there looking around. He finds this whole library full of books. He gets ready to read one of them. His glasses break.
It's classic. It's simple but effective.
Oh God, that messed me up in the head.
I know.
Like, no,
it's
not like, fair.
It would be like if your dream was to do that your entire life. The human race dies, and then I can read for the rest of my life. The books are all still here. I broke my glasses. Darn it. It's so simple, but it's so brilliant, man. That's one of my favorite. I love that one too. But how about Tales from the Dark Side?
Oh, I grew up with that show.
Me too.
The one that I had to say, the thing inside the closet. Yeah, it's like the girl moves into that place with her tutor. She starts hearing these sounds in the closet, and it just builds up really good, like that '90s feel. And then you just in the red eyes, jump up onto her hair and start screeching and start scratching at her.
Oh,
give you a little visual thing if you want to see it.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
It drags her down, and she gets a very bad brain injury. It pulls her into the closet, and it turns out this creature was actually her tutor's daughter. That was sleeping in the closet the whole entire time.
That
No,
sounds
really,
so.
really.
That sounds so Tales from the Dark Side like.
You should really look up the episode. It's a really great one.
What's
I
the
want to tell you
name
this
of it? The
though.
thing in the closet.
The thing inside the closet's door.
The thing inside the closet's door. I will have to check that out, Gideon. I have never,
Let me find the picture of this thing.
I've never seen that one. But
I know there was a TV show that tells the dark side, but I've never really seen it.
yeah,
Oh, I love it.
that's what we're talking about. I since you're not too familiar with either show, I guess we could kind of modify the question. What's like your favorite horror tale? Oh wait, say something so I can see better.
That's the ape thing.
Oh my gosh!
And it was a girl!
It's terrifying.
See, look at this.
I'm looking it up right now.
It gets on
Oh my
top of her.
god.
It starts trying to get at her. It's like, ah! No, it screeches stuff like that. It's like, ah! That scared the hell out of me. That scared my 6-year-old self the hell out of me. I was crying my eyes out.
I have never seen this one. I will totally give it a watch.
It's great, dude. You can find it full on YouTube, I think.
Tom Savini directed it. Interesting.
Yes! He
Tom
did
Savini
amazing
made
with it.
He directed it.
Oh wow.
I will be sure to give that one a watch. See, Gideon is giving me TerrorVision to watch, and now Tales from the Dark Side I've never seen.
Tales of the
I've
Dark
seen
Side
the
is
movie
amazing.
before. I thought the movie was actually pretty good. The movie.
Yeah, I
My
like
favorite
Tales
movie of all times.
I like
I've seen the movie.
Dark Side. I like this one, the one with the kitten. I think that's a.
Oh my god.
Oh, God.
Dude, that freaking freak, like that scared the crap out of me. That really did. That creeped me out. That really did. That segment creeped me out.
Oh, I got the soundtrack on LP.
Oh, cool.
I swear the intro to Tales from the Crypt. No, not Tales from the Crypt. I mean, Tales from the Dark Side. Just freaked me out so much. Man, lives in a world of fantasy.
It's not as brightly lit.
Tales from the Dark Side.
That's an iconic intro. I mean, that's as close as you get to Twilight Zone's intro. But
Oh, I love Twilight Zone.
great shit. But Nate, what's like your favorite horror urban legend of all time? Like, since you're not too familiar with either of those shows, like, what's your favorite little like horror tale?
I know this is kind of a typical one, but this is the one that when I was younger I heard a lot. You said urban legend?
Yeah, I figured we modified because you're not too familiar with as many Twilight Zones as me and Gideon are.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and catch up. Kind of probably far away, but you know.
Yeah,
I'm at episode 3.
yeah, you're about 150 episodes away.
Episode 3. I'm almost there.
Hey, man, almost there.
Tales of the Crypt? 0.
Oh, Tales. Oh boy,
I've never seen any of them.
you got a long ways to go.
Never seen any of them. Yeah. But the one urban legend, I think it was honestly the first one I heard, and this is the one that I'm sure almost every person, I would not say everyone, but I'd say almost every person when you were a kid probably heard about this legend. But it was probably the first one I heard of. It was the one that I honestly believed, and it kind of scared the crap out of me. And that is the urban legend of Bloody Mary.
Oh, God.
That's my probably favorite and most creepy urban legend, which got, I think, 2 movies. I think they had a movie called Bloody Mary, and they had Urban Legends Bloody Mary. So, but it could be a really good movie. Think about it. An urban legend where this girl comes out of the mirror if you say her name in the mirror. And I can kind of tell, though, I don't know if this legend was out before Candyman, but I can tell it kind of got, inspiration from Candyman. But my favorite urban legend would be probably Bloody Mary, because it's the one as a kid when I heard. Really creepy. Because you go to the bathroom a lot, so it's not like you can't go to the bathroom, but and there's always a mirror in the bathroom, so it creeps you out. At least for me when I was a kid growing up. Hearing the legend about Bloody Mary, and I even heard the backstories and the ritual and how you can. But I never tried it because it scared the freaking crap out of me. but I would say the urban legend that got me as a kid was Bloody Mary because when I first heard about it, it was the first one I really heard. I would say that and the Headless Horseman legend.
Oh, cool.
I would say that one's a pretty cool one as well, but I would say Bloody Mary. If not Bloody Mary, then the Headless Horseman. But, Bloody Mary.
I totally dig both those legends. But going back to when it comes to underrated Twilight Zone episodes, there's one that really I have a good story about, and I could actually share with the world, whoever's watching, or just you two. But there's this episode called "Come Wander with Me," and it's the third to last episode of the show. It was season 5. It was also the last one shot for the show. And I'll never forget. I think it was in junior year of high school, and I was going to a party that night. I had gotten home from school. I was chilling, got off from work. I'm super excited to go to this party. And I laid down, and I was watching all the Twilight Zones in order. I was counting them down, and this was one of the last ones. And I wasn't expecting much, The story of it basically is this guy. He's like a folk singer. He wanders into the woods, and he meets this woman, and she's singing this song called "Come Wander with Me." And the lyrics of the song, yes, that is the iconic image of the episode. She's singing this song, and the lyrics of the song is just so haunting, and it's just so creepy. The episode absolutely moved me. I freaking freaked out watching it. It is so creepy. For some reason or another, I find it so creepy because he's walking into the woods, and there's this woman behind him, and she's in black, and she's following him and looking at him and not saying anything. And the way it's shot, it's really, really shot well. Actually, Richard Donner directed the episode, who would go on to make movies like The Goonies and Superman movies. But the way he shot it, and the music in it, and the feel of it, there's not much of a storyline there. It's much more like a giallo. It's much more like an atmospheric kind of weird episode. And I just always really enjoyed it. It's so different from any other Twilight Zone episode because they're usually about morals and a story and, these cool twist endings. But this one, no. I mean, this one was all about atmosphere and creeping you out, not by saying all that much. It's just a creepy song and a creepy setting. And I remember actually at the end of the episode, I was so moved by the episode, I didn't go to the party. I remember a lot of people were like, "Where's Grande at?" I was like, yeah, I'm not coming. I was deathly afraid of this episode, so staying in for the night. I honestly didn't go. And people were like, "Why did you miss the party?" I was like, "Well, ask Rod Serling, man. It's just creeped me out, man. Just creeped me out. If you ever get a chance to watch that episode over, to me, it's the most underrated Twilight Zone episode of all time.
Definitely give it a watch. I want to watch the whole series. I can't wait to watch the whole series of that. Tales of the Dark Side and Tales of the Crypt. What's up, RedBand?
Hey!
Nothing much. I just got done watching Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 and Scream.
Oh! Yeah!
Garbage day.
Hold it!
All right, so I have a friend who only likes critically acclaimed movies. And I had him watch Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and he loved how awful it was. He liked it so much that he was like, "Can I please borrow the DVD so I can show him?" Classic. And then he liked
it's a
Scream
classic
too, so I was happy. But yeah.
I love Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, man. I watch it usually a little bit closer to Christmas, but I'm super excited to give that one a rewatch. I've showed it to all my buddies too, who aren't even into horror, but they're always like, was this guy? They never get it. They're always like, was this guy seriously acting that way? Did he think he was good? And I'm like, well, for so many years he was missing. Like that was also part of the aura. Nobody could find Eric Freeman, man. But That is the best, worst performance in a horror movie or any movie ever. Like, that is just, oh my God. I wonder if that's where The Rock got the eyebrows from. Like, I wonder, like.
That's really hilarious because a friend of mine just brought that up while we were watching.
It's wild, right, man. But we're doing a roundtable. We're actually on the discussion of. I think you're a pretty big fan of the show. We're talking about what is the most underrated Twilight Zone episode in your opinion?
Oh shoot! I remember the title, but I think it's Time Enough to Something. The one where the fella had he reads all the time, and then like his glasses break.
God, yes! We must be spiritually connected, dude.
That was Gideon's choice.
Yeah.
Oh man,
we have to be spiritually connected, dude.
I'll change it to a different one then. Maybe this isn't underrated, but a big favorite of mine would be The Monsters Are Due on May Street.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
A lot of people love that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, and I can't pick like a lot of the bigger ones, but like some of my favorite ones are the ones that they remade in the anthology movie. And I like both versions too. So
I was talking about one that like I've never heard a single soul really talk about. It's called "Come Wander with Me." I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh,
yeah, that one to me is the most underrated one. That one freaked me out.
Yeah,
I got the lyrics pulled up.
Yeah. The song in it's creepy. There's been tons of covers for that song. There's also this one that nobody really mentions. It's called The Hunt, and it's about this old man and like he goes hunting with his dog, and like they pretty much die like while they're hunting. He falls in and drowns or whatever, and then like the next day they're walking on like the road, and like this guy is like, oh, this is the gate to heaven, and he's like, oh shit, like it's just a really weird one, and then it's like you realize that the twist is that like the guy is really the gatekeeper to hell. And the dog won't go in. So it's all like this testament of how awesome dogs are and how a man will walk into hell blind, but not the devil can fool a dog or something like that. Like, I love that one too. Yeah, it's a song. So creepy.
Away from the sidewalk.
Freak me
but
out.
make sure it's not get copyrighted.
Oh gosh. Okay. For we don't get copyrighted, the song's by Bonnie Beecher. Come on. Google, do not sue us.
Do not sue us. It's just beautiful music, okay? And it's a scary.
I have to pause. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is not used for commercial use. This is not used to make money off of this controversy. Continue.
So let's move on to the next topic, though. Steve, do you have any topics for the roundtable?
Oh shoot, I didn't come prepared at all.
If you want to, we can do somebody else before we do you, if you want to think of one.
You know what? Since I'll probably only be here till like the hour's up or maybe 5 or 10 minutes over, I think. Okay, we were on the topic of TV show, and Twilight Zone's one of my favorite ones. Another one of my favorite ones is Scooby Doo.
Oh,
what's your
shit.
favorite Scooby Doo villain?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Go around, I'll go last. I just want to see your opinions.
Oh God, this is a good one. All right, who wants to start?
I'll start, I guess. You said favorite Scooby-Doo villain, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really good question. My from the original show, right?
Any of them, like it's gone.
Okay.
You can pick about like 10, but whatever.
I was about to say, so we're exiting out the movies, right? And the Cartoon Network movies and the
any of them.
I think. Mine would be the Miner, the classic story. The
Miner 49er.
Yeah, the Miner 49er. It's a classic villain. That was actually, I think, the first one. I lied. The first one I seen was the one with the knight. They're walking through the castle, and the knight popped the what's his name? I forgot the name of the villain. I just called him like the knight.
It's the Black Knight.
The Black Knight. Yeah.
Black Knight. Yeah, that was the very first episode.
That's the first one I seen. So that was on a VHS tape. So I didn't even know. Like, I didn't watch the series and like full. But that was like the first one I seen. But my favorite would have to be the Minor 49.
Nice.
That's a great villain. When I ever think of Scooby-Doo villains, I mean, there are tons of classic ones, like the Tar Man. I don't know if it was called the Tar Man, but like that's what I always call it. There are tons of good ones. But when I was a kid, my favorite Scooby-Doo movie was Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Yes.
That's the best.
Best Scooby-Doo movie ever made.
And it's because it's real. It's because the whole and the soundtrack in it, like
The zombies on the prowl.
it's terror time again. We got the
Amazing.
zombies. I mean, oh my God. Because I think the whole premise of the beginning is like they're so pissed that it's always a ghost in a mask. It's always a man in a mask, and like they really want to see a real monster. and the goddamn house they go to, and those people are like werewolf kind of things, I guess, werewolf zombie things. Like, oh my God, that freaked the shit out of me. And they had voodoo dolls of Thelma and Daphne and Fred and the gardener, and like that was the darkest Scooby-Doo movie ever. And I can remember there were certain scenes they're eating the crawfish in the Mystery Machine. And like it's just it did the atmosphere and the tone really well. I would go with those zombie creepy werewolf ladies from that movie scared the piss out of me when I was a kid, and I loved it too. I loved every minute of it. That's easily the best Scooby-Doo movie in my opinion.
That is an amazing movie. That's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So and
It
like,
never gets
it's
mentioned.
usually good because it's a Scooby-Doo movie, and like it's not just that like it's a great Scooby-Doo movie; it's just a great animated movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah.
But yeah,
One of the best.
I love those guys.
Quick thoughts though. What are you guys' thoughts on? This is one that I really grew up with a lot. What are you guys' thoughts on Scooby-Doo and Reluctant Werewolf?
Reluctant Werewolf. All right. See, I like it because I think it's fun, and I think it's, I don't know, it's weird, and it's a very different kind of thing. But it's like you look at it, and it's not really a good movie because like the last half of the movie is just the same thing, basically repeating over and over and over again. But that was sort of the dark ages for Hanna-Barbera too at those times. You know, like they didn't really know what they wanted to do, and you know. But I think the best thing about it is Scrappy is not that annoying in it.
I just remember being a kid. That was the one I really grew up with a lot. Like that was one of the Scooby-Doo movies. I grew up with that, Zombie Island. Believe it or not, guys, believe it or not, I did grow up with the Scooby-Doo movies, the live-action movies. And as a kid, I did not think they were that bad. But if I watched them anymore, I'll be honest, the second movie is bad. The first movie, because I watched it as a kid, it's not that bad. I would say maybe it's a guilty. I'll honestly be honest. The first Scooby-Doo live action for me is a guilty pleasure. It's not a great movie, but I don't hate it as much as the second Scooby-Doo live action movie. But maybe it's because I grew up with those movies. But I grew up with those movies, Zombie Island, and Reluctant Werewolf, and that was just one I watched a lot as a kid.
I grew up with Scooby-Doo in the Ghoul School. I think that was the first one I ever saw. And I always one always really had good merit to me. I always was like, oh man, Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School's on. And also Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie was long.
Yes, that's great.
I liked both
I
of
can
those.
say one thing about Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. Matches is a pimp. He's like,
He's a pimp.
Matches, Barry.
Did you see the Casper one, the Scooby-Doo and Casper?
Oh God.
Oh, I've seen the Scooby-Doo movie.
Scooby-Doo meets Batman.
Casper.
I think there's Scooby Doo meets Batman, there's Scooby Doo Casper.
Meets Don Knotts. Why are there so many Aussies here? The most sensitive of you. Why is there so many Aussies?
Oh yeah, man, the Don Knotts episodes, man, those are just
Phyllis Dearler.
yeah.
How about you,
One I
Gideon?
put on DVD is the Addams Family episode
That's a
of
good
the
one.
new Scooby-Doo movies. That's a really good one, but like they can't get the rights to put it out because Warner Brothers doesn't own the rights to Addams Family anymore.
Oh,
So really tough there. And like Warner Brothers also doesn't own the rights to like a lot of the other celebrity likenesses, so they can't put it out, which really sucks. But what can you do? I guess. I guess for like my favorite villain would probably be, it's really tough. My favorite villain and my favorite episode I'd probably have to say is from like season 2 of the Scooby-Doo show. And the first, I think it was like the first or second episode. The episode's called Vampires, Bats, and Scaredy Cats. And it's the vampire in there. He's just freaky and like, I don't know. He's cool. He's just cool. That's when I grew up with on like VHS tape on like Scooby-Doo's Creepiest Capers or something like that. But it's good. It's good.
I like the vast majority we've been able to talk about on this roundtable. I mean, we've talked about everything from Cannibal Holocaust to Scooby. Like,
great mix of themes, lots of subjects.
It is crazy. The fact that it all is just like,
Uh-oh.
What did you say,
Google
Steve?
Plus must have.
just
Google
said,
Plus messed
I
up.
think it's just awesome that I think it's all cyclical and stuff. Like, I don't know, Scooby-Doo is very much horror related, I think. Like, I think most people, that's one of their first introductions to horror, besides
True.
like, fairy tales maybe, but I don't know. Like, Scooby-Doo did a big thing for horror, I think, because, I mean, you watch Scream and it's basically Scooby-Doo is a horror movie, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I grew up with Scooby-Doo, but I grew up with the original series on VHS, but I didn't have all of them. I just had, the couple ones here and there. I definitely grew up on Scooby-Doo. I grew up on Scooby-Doo. I grew up on a TV show called Dragon Ball Z, which, I grew up with that TV show. I grew up with, as far as TV shows go, though, I grew up with What's New Scooby-Doo. That's the one I grew up with, was What's New Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network. Explain that.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember. I hated the theme song to that.
What's New Scooby-Doo?
All right, here's the thing. I like Reliant K. I think Reliant K is an alright band, like for a pop punk band. But seriously, that great song.
Yeah, that was. I'll agree with you guys on that. That was a horrible intro. Horrible intro song. A horrible intro song.
That's all I remember.
But I grew up with that TV show, though.
That's the only thing I remember. I remember I was always like, this theme song is just the worst. I don't want to watch this. That was my I never gave the show a chance, which is usually not.
You know what's worse though? You know what's really worse though is a pup named Scooby-Doo, the theme song.
Oh,
like
God.
It's catchy and stuff, but oh man, I hate it.
I grew up with that show actually. I remember before I went to school.
Yeah, it's a great show.
I would watch that, and it was like it was them as kids or whatever. But I always liked Pup Named Scooby-Doo. I actually thought that was like.
I remember that TV show.
I thought it was okay. I always kind of dug it.
I've seen the new one.
It's awesome.
Like Mystery Incorporated one.
It's Tex Avery
That one
and like Animaniac
popular.
meets Scooby-Doo, which is awesome. Or like the Muppet Babies
Yeah.
the other
It's
thing.
Muppet Babies. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They did so many
it's
Robot
like
Chicken sketches of that.
Muppet Babies. Classic, man. I had so many VHSs of that. Jesus Christ. Man, this is great, man. We talked about Italian exploitation cannibal horror, and now we're talking about Muppet Babies. I mean, You're the coolest four motherfuckers on the face of the earth. Yeah.
Next
I
Rob
don't know if
Zombie
that
you're
makes
looking
us
at.
cool. I think that's the opposite of cool from John.
Hey, it's cool in my book, man.
Okay. First of all, my question is this. You want to know what I think about Scrappy?
What do you think about Scrappy?
Sure. I've got to get Scruffy back to my boyfriend and then
Fuck you. Kick the
Scrappy
dog.
sucks.
Yeah, kick the dog, and it's like, fuck you.
Whose idea was it to have Scrappy be the villain in the live action movie? Like, whoever that
That was
was
actually pretty cool.
should have been shot.
It was
I
bad.
think
But there's some bad things in that movie, but I grew up with it.
My
There's
favorite
a lot of bad
the
things.
premise is good. Like the fact that they want to make fun of the thing that fans hate the most about Scooby-Doo, what like made them jump the shark, that's good. But the fact that Scrappy is just presented so horribly there and just shoehorned into it, that's the issue.
The
And
issue is that
honestly,
he
like I
peed
know
on
everybody
Thelma.
hates, I hate Scrappy at times as well. But I kind of also think that like there was a time when he wasn't too bad. There's a few episodes where he's really good, and then for the most part he's just like gratingly annoying. And I don't know. I'm
Doesn't
really
Scooby-Doo
glad
have
that
a
there's an
cousin or
episode of
something?
Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated
His uncle.
where they show like they're going through this museum of like basically like history of the town, and they see like this little effigy of Scrappy, and then Daphne goes over to it and she's like, wait, I think I remember this. And then Fred goes like, we said we'd never speak of it again.
They threw it out of the car. Just drove off.
He peed on Daphne, man. That was uncalled for. I want to pee on Daphne.
Okay, Okay, I have 3 villains I like. Is it okay if I do 3 of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Number 1, Robot from Funland.
Yeah.
Freaking love that guy. He was just no. I mean that intro though. You see a hyper-realistic picture of him drawn, and he looks so freaking creepy. Number 2, Space Cooks.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, that thing's laughs though when he's talking about the hill.
Yeah, the laugh. Oh, classic.
Number 3, Ghost Clown.
Yeah. And that is the episode where Daphne is the sexiest.
Yes.
You gotta watch
Maybe
that
not
episode.
series, but like out of the original series, that's her. And then like as far as like throughout the series, I gotta go with like the more modern one. What's it called? Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which is like really awesome. It's an awesome series.
Yeah. They should have canceled it.
No, they never should have, and they changed it for this horrible thing called Be Cool Scooby-Doo that's like Scooby-Doo meets Family
Oh
Guy,
my god.
which is
All these
basically
cutaway
like,
jokes.
I don't know, I hate that about as much as Ronald Reagan fans hate communists. Like,
My name's
and I'm a
Ronald Reagan.
fan, so-
And I was president.
Big time
Reagan
for
track.
Bonzo.
Well, the only person who knows in 2016 what that is.
Probably.
Yeah, these kids on their iPhones nowadays, they're freaking twerking and shit.
Yeah. It's fucking
And then the girl
weird.
running, like, communism!
So let's change the let's go to the next topic. Gideon, do you have another one?
Yes, I have hundreds.
Oh, you have 100. All right, so what is the one?
Okay. We'll think of one real quick. It's going to be good.
I thought you had 100.
Okay. Takes me a minute.
All right, it takes us all a minute.
If you could recreate any horror movie you wanted to, you can have unlimited budget to make the movie crafted from your own image of your mind. What would it be? Any horror movie.
That's a tough
Or any
one. So if I could
movie.
remake any horror movie.
Yeah.
Dude, is it okay if I start, guys?
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
this is tough. And this one is definitely controversial. I would have liked. This is a dream for me because I'm such a Romero fan. I would love to see if they had given George Romero the $6 million to make Day of the Dead instead of the $3 million that they gave him. I would have liked to have seen an X-rated Day of the Dead because the version that we already have is such an awesome zombie movie. I mean, it's one of the top 5 zombie movies ever. You know, it's just so well done. If they've given him the extra money, I've read that script. It's actually floating around online. You could read the original script. I would have really liked to have seen that one. If I could, so if I could remake any movie, I would do that one, and I would let George do his originally intended script. I would let him because maybe he would have gave us another Dawn. Maybe he would have gave us the absolute best of the 3 of them. Like Day of the Dead usually is like, oh, it's number 2 next to Dawn of the Dead. That's how most people feel. But
Yeah.
I certainly think if they had given him the amount of money that he wanted, I think George would have gave us maybe even a better movie. Like, who knows? So that would be mine for like a movie that I feel like we were robbed of that as fans. And then there are tons of ones that weren't as good to begin with that you could say, but like those aren't really coming to the brain right now. For some reason, that one did. But what about you guys?
I think I've got one, but that's a really good call on Day of the Dead. I really wish we would. I honestly think that like if Romero had decided to do like what was it, like a 3-hour version of it or something like that.
Yeah, 3 hour and $6 million budget he wanted.
Now, see, that would just be amazing because Day of the Dead is fantastic already, but like more gore effects and more, like more of those characters, which are some of Romero's best characters. I mean, that'd be awesome. I want to see the unproduced Quentin Tarantino version. Wait, no. Sorry, we're talking about horror movies. I'm sorry. But just as a movie that's like not a horror movie, Quentin Tarantino's James Bond, which would have been amazing.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But, okay, a horror movie. Peter Jackson's Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because, honestly, like, he doesn't even have to direct it. I would figure somebody else out to direct it. Because, honestly, he's too busy right now doing, I don't know, the Silmarillion. Now, and by the way, I like the Lord of the Rings. I love the Lord of the Rings, actually. But the Silmarillion should not be a movie. Anyway, so I would go for somebody that's a big fan of the series. Maybe like the guys who made the Never Sleep Again documentary, and since they sort of reported on that actual script, they should get their hands on it, honestly. But yeah, I love the concept that Freddy could be this old broken down guy that the kids nowadays just like to go into their dreams and beat the crap out of. I like that, and then all of a sudden he somehow kills one of them and he gets a little bit of strength back, because that could really play on your emotions as far as like a guy that he's not supposed to be a guy you're rooting for, but somehow like he's got this anti-hero quality to him, and it makes it a legitimate anti-hero quality, and all of a sudden you're rooting for this horrible child molesting freak. I don't know. It'd just be great. I would love to see that, and I think they could do that as like a sort of tie-in. It doesn't have to like fit into the series anywhere. They can just throw that movie out there.
I agree. That's
a script.
It's a great idea for a script, man. It really is.
Yeah, and you had Peter Jackson before Lord of the Rings. So, I mean, that would have been right after Bad Taste and Dead Alive. So
Bad Taste would be a good one.
Imagine. I can just imagine how that would be, though.
How about you, Nate? What would you say?
That's a really good question. So to change what what was the question? Like to change a horror film? Like,
If you had the money, unlimited budget to remake any horror movie, or like make a movie of any script, what would it be?
I know this movie. Okay, this movie was by John Carpenter. I think. RedBand, you still there, man?
RedBand's frozen.
Yeah, I think Google Plus crashed.
It's a funny face.
It's always doing that, folks. It's always doing that. But
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, did you leave?
he might. Here, I'm gonna send a quick invite real quick. For a second. For me, it'd be John Carpenter. If it would be a movie that I would go back and sort of change around a little bit. It's a movie that I still love, but there were still some things I would have done that I really would have hoped this movie would have had a little bit more of a budget behind it. But John Carpenter's Vampires is a movie that I would go back and especially the ending, because the movie is great, but majority of people say that the beginning of the movie is the best part, and the rest of it is not as good as the beginning. I think the movie as a whole was pretty good. I think that what was really bad was the ending, was because the ending they sort of ran out of budget, so they had to find some way to make the ending the way that it was, but they needed more money, so they had to, change the ending a little bit. I do think it was a little anticlimactic, so if I would go back, I would make it much more of a big fight between, James Woods and the main vampire, and have them fight a little bit more, have a lot more vampire killing mayhem from Dusk Till Dawn style with blood and guts. And, it would be awesome. But I understand what they had to do because they only had a limited budget. But if I would have the chance to go back and sort of change the ending of that film, I would go back and make the ending to John Carpenter's Vampires much more, having much more less of a anticlimactic feel, because James Woods at the end of the movie, of course, the one guy gets bit, and it sort of becomes anticlimactic because the main vampire dies so quickly. So I would go back and I would make it to where it'd be a bigger fight, it'd be a longer fight, it wouldn't be so fast. But that's what I would change. But that's a good question though, because it's hard to choose because there's a lot of films out there. But I would say John Carpenter's Vampires. I would go back and if I had the money, I'd go back and I would change that ending, because it's with that ending, in my opinion, it'd be a great movie. It still is a great movie. I still love John Carpenter's Vampires, but that ending felt a little anticlimactic the way that it was done. But I understand why. I mean, it was just a budget, and they kind of were running out of money. They needed to have more money for it. So I understand the problem, but I would go back and fix that. Make the ending a much more action-packed, blood and guts, really good ending. Not as anticlimactic as it is, but that's what I'd go back and change.
I feel you. How about you, Gideon? What's yours?
It's gonna be good.
I'm stoked.
Mars Attacks. I would remake Mars Attacks. Because, did you guys ever hear about the original card series?
No.
I have the original trading cards.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the craziest part about it, though, they left out so much stuff in the movies. They had so much more to work with. But, I think Tim Burton just shrugged it off. Because, you know how the aliens get killed on Earth?
Yeah.
Actually, the ending of the movie, they actually, in the cards, they blow up the entire Mars. Instead of just the aliens attacking, they had giant bugs.
Yeah.
That would actually eat people. The way I'd remake it is just how the cards went by. I would just add people getting killed by these Martians, and then unleash this army of giant bugs. And you see this whole big war between the army. And I wouldn't put that cliche in where the mutant kills the Martians. Because in the original cards, they would actually murder them with machetes tied to guns. They would hit them right in the heads and take that and that. And they go to their own planet, they go to Mars and just explode with an A-bomb. That just would have been a better ending.
Yeah, if you could,
So yeah, I'll remake Mars Attacks.
if you had the money to do like effects for that, I totally think they would work. I mean, there are also a lot of movies that like I was saying before, like movies like Bad Taste. If you gave a movie like Bad Taste a little bit more money, like I mean, it's funny to imagine that Peter Jackson made that movie for so cheap, and then he makes these Lord of the Rings movies that are, oh my God, the budgets are just insane. Like, I would love to know how many Bad Taste budgets it would take to make one Lord of the Rings movie. But it's also at the same time, I think movies with small budgets, sometimes it adds to the charm, you know? Like, I don't know if Bad Taste would be that good if you remade it with better effects and better, like, the whole, you know, the charm to it was the disgusting, gooey, like, the shot where Peter Jackson, like, splits his head open, and it's like, and he, like, just tapes it back down, you know? There are just so many movies like that where, like, it adds to it, and I don't know if you could remake small budget movies. But I think remaking movies that had budgets that were bad and maybe had a good concept would be the best way to go with that. But let's move on. I think we're final topic, right? Is it Nate the Great?
Yeah, right here.
All right. Let's send us home.
My final topic is trying to think here, because I know that we talked about greatest horror movie moments in history. What would you guys say? This one is one that I can probably answer really, really quickly. But what is your guys' least favorite horror film of all time? So bad it's good. It's like just bad, like just straight up horrible, horrible film. Like, what would you guys say is the worst horror film you've ever witnessed?
That is tough.
Ugh.
I don't want to lead. I don't know if I want to lead this one off. I at least want to go second. I don't really know. One doesn't. Gideon, you got one?
Yes, I have to be aware. I would have to say, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's still a pretty good movie, but I mean, it's in the terrible range.
Yeah. It's that one to me is like so bad it's kind of funny, but I can understand.
And the funniest part is, it's Tim Burton's favorite movie. One of his.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It sounds like something Tim Burton would be a big fan of.
Yeah. Well, I have to be Plan 9 from Outer Space. I mean, I really kind of enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed the characters and stuff, but I mean, it's a terrible movie. That'll be my answer.
Yeah, I can see that one. That one is kind of has a Troll 2 vibe to me, but a few spring to mind. I don't know if I could say like there is the number one worst one. Creepshow 3 automatically jumps to mind. That one automatically, that's one of the worst movies I've ever watched, and it's made worse because of what kind of a middle finger it threw up to Stephen King and George Romero. One that never gets mentioned, which I find one of the worst ever, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4. Try to get through that one. Holy shit! It has nothing.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with like Christmas.
It's just this crazy lady who jumps out a window and bursts into flames, and then she sees giant cockroaches. I mean, what a terrible movie. And as of when it comes to mainstream movies that were released in a theater that I just found absolutely disgusting, I would say the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I think the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is the worst horror movie.
Enemy.
It's the worst horror movie ever that had a budget and had a wide release and was #1 opening weekend. It's absolutely, I just think it's terrible. It misses the point, and it's terribly acted, terribly directed, and it's an abomination of a film. I think those three are definitely runners for my least favorite of all time.
Really good picks, man. And those movies are pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Not in a good way either. Like Plan 9 from Outer Space, I get a little bit of enjoyment out of. But those three, forget it. I would rather hang myself.
Don't
Don't.
don't do it, Heath Ledger. You got his whole career.
Get to you, man.
Oh God!
How about you, Nate? Since RedBand's muted.
If you guys can see here, I'm looking through some movies because the one I have picked, I know I said I could say the one, but I'm trying to think because it's horrible. It's probably my least favorite horror film. It is my least favorite horror film. It's actually a good movie by I've seen some reviews. People say it's a good film, and for me, I can't say it at all. This is just my personal opinion. I have no clue why people say this is I have no clue. Besides maybe a few of the performances, and that would be it. A couple of the performances by 2 stars from the 90s. This is before they got big.
Oh, I know what it is.
It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation. Because it's the reason this is my least favorite is because A, it's a sequel to my favorite horror film of all time. B, they make Leatherface a freaking chick. Well, not literally, but they make him dressed up like a freaking chick.
Prostitute.
Third of all, the plot doesn't make any sense. Fourth of all, I could keep going on and on and on, but even the backstory behind Texas Massacre Next Generation. I heard there's a cut called The Return of Texas Massacre, which is better. I have not seen it. I don't know if it still has the same themes in it. I don't know if it can be better. I think it might be better than this movie, but I've heard there's an alternative cut of Chainsaw 4 called Return of Texas Massacre. And I know that Kim Henkel, he was a writer for the original Chainsaw Massacre. He made this movie. He made part 4 because he was disappointed with part 2 and 3, which I love 2 and I love 3. So even that alone, I'm like, okay, so you're disappointed in that. So you make this movie, and you make Leatherface just like a girl. You make to where Renee Zellweger tells him to sit down, and he actually sits down. He's not offended. He's not chasing after. No, he literally sits. That'd be like telling Michael Myers, sit down, and he just sits down. Or Freddy Krueger, sit down. He just sits down. That would not happen. That would really not happen. And then just horrible. But I will give the movie this: Renee Zellweger, Matthew McConaughey, 2 great performances in that film. I will give the movie that. Everything else is horrible. The acting is atrocious. The atmosphere is nothing for me, at least. You could tell it had a lack of budget. There's no gore. There's no hardly any blood. I mean, that might be because they were trying to. The original movie didn't have that much blood and gore, but the original movie had so much more to it. It had the intense, raw atmosphere. It had so much more going for it. But for me, my pick would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation because it's really, and just as a sequel, it's awful. And the behind the scenes stuff, the stories behind it, about how Kim Henkel was disappointed with part 2 and 3, and how he wanted to make a better sequel, and how it was just all this stuff, and I just could not believe it. And I know that this movie has been said to be. Some people really like this movie, or they like the film. That is totally fine. But when I seen this movie, I'm sorry, this is my least favorite horror film of all time because it's crappy. It's just crap. I don't really know what to say. It's just crappy. So yeah, my pick would be Texas Massacre Part 4: Next Generation.
It's a good pick, brother. I agree. That movie's horrible. But what would yours be, Steve?
First off, Kim Henkel does suck a big old bone. But
Fuck you, Kim.
Exactly.
You got a lady's name. Come on. No, I don't know. He's a great guy. Just made an awful movie. I don't know. It's tough for me because let's see. I feel like it's almost too easy to go for like sequels, because obviously a lot of sequels are bad. Like, you might immediately go to something like I'll always know what you did last summer.
Oh,
Or like Urban Legends Bloody Mary or something like that, which are both just direct-to-video abominations. And like, I know the first two aren't what you'd call classics, like the first movies in each series, but I don't know. I like them, so I don't know. But so I hate those two. I don't know. And yet again, it's sort of tough to just immediately go to remakes because a lot of remakes suck anyway. So like, obviously Rob Zombie's Halloween, which is a deeply depressing movie for me to watch, that just hurts. Like, I watch it and it feels like just something inside of me is being torn to pieces. It's like
What do you say about my movie?
the prison rape of the soul or something.
What is it about my movie?
Rob Zombie.
He defends it.
Oh, dude.
I don't know what else. Like, obviously
Oh,
Rob
man.
Zombie's Halloween 2 as well, which is both a sequel and a remake, and also very easy target.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Yet again, just deep, disgusting, like anal rape of my soul again. Sorry. I shouldn't make rape jokes, but I did. So, like, what else is there? Oh, I think I've got one. Shoot, I actually have to get up to go get it. Give me half a second.
I'm Mr. Rob Zombie. And I'll defend my movie even though it's shit.
I need to show I have the feeling to show my wife's ass in
Okay.
every movie I make.
Yes!
Wait, what?
Somebody finally see me say it.
It's the truth. He just shows his wife's
it is.
ass off in every movie.
He does.
He's a piece of shit.
Wait. Who are we talking about? Somebody who watched their butt in every movie? What's happening?
No,
Rob Zombie's wife.
I said Rob Zombie shows his wife's ass off in every movie she's in.
He does.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Even in his animated movie, and I don't know how that happens. Like,
The Haunted World of El Super Beasto.
Oh my god.
I got that on DVD. I
oh
love
man,
it.
that's horrible. Yeah. Sherry. It's not that like Sherry Moon's like not an attractive woman, but you get tired of it after a while.
I agree. Yes.
It's like every
Yes.
movie. She's in every movie, every time.
It's like the first time you see it, it's okay, but then
Yeah.
like, and I'm not a big
Like
fan of
House Dolls
nudity
and
horror.
Corpses and Devil's Rejects.
Immediately,
Okay,
like,
those are movies. Those were good movies to put her in because I thought she did decent jobs in those movies. But after that, every movie after that, like you guys said, it's kind of annoying. Every movie after that, you see her.
And the thing is that like I'm not a big fan of nudity in horror movies anyway, so like that just rubs me the wrong way when it's like the same thing over and over and over.
The same ass.
Yeah, like God forgive him. But all right, I do know what my least favorite is now after like thinking about it for a minute. And the bad thing is this is a pretty rare DVD. I think it goes like used like $20 online.
Oh shit.
I found it for one. It's called Do You Want to Know a Secret? It's one of those like awful Scream clones, and I'm pretty sure this was produced for television. I really should like do a picture-in-picture commentary of this at some point, because it's really bad, and it's not so bad it's good. It's just mind-numbingly boring. It's like the absolute solution of everything that was bad about like Scream clone movies of the 90s. I think this came out in like 2001. Its two big stars are Joseph Lawrence and Chad Allen, whoever the heck those people are. Not that they're needed. I don't know. It's really bad. Apparently, Joey Lawrence was from Blossom, and Chad Allen was from My Two Dads. So, if you were a fan of that crap, I guess you would love this. But I don't know. It's really bad. It's just, and I know slasher movies are sometimes even supposed to be bad and stuff, but this is a really, really bad slasher movie, and I can't recommend it at all unless you can find it for a very cheap price and maybe at some point sell it online, which is probably what I'll do if I decide that I just really don't want it in my collection anymore. So
That it looks and sounds generic. It actually really reminds me of the Prom Night, not the Prom Night remake. Well, that too, but the April Fool's Day remake.
Oh my god, that's even worse.
Sounds like a full
yeah,
moon movie.
The Prom Night remake, guys.
Oh, that movie! Like I could literally smell the turdness of that, like from here. Like it's like
I got a turtle head sticking out.
that is one of the worst movies. I mean, any of those direct to DVD remakes from slashers from the 80s are always bad. Like I've never seen a good one. Like there's a good one does not exist. Sorority Row, when they remade House of Sorority Row. God. Like just it's like what were they thinking? Like I don't even fathom to know. But I actually just thought of one last, I think a good topic to end on would be, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That's kind of a sad thing to end on. What's the worst horror movie of all time?
Yeah, I figured we end on something fun. What is the weirdest slasher film you've ever seen? Overall weirdest. Or how about just weirdest? We could just do weirdest horror movie too, because that would broaden the horizon.
Okay. Do you mind if I go first? I need to get off here pretty soon, but
go for
I do want to go ahead. Man. Okay, so first off, I want to say I'm sorry that my phone died earlier. I wasn't able to come back on.
That's okay.
My phone committed suicide, and it was very depressing. I had to revive it. But I haven't seen this yet, but I wanted to go on and show it off. I picked it up today. And it's the Phantasm Remastered Blu-ray.
Oh shit!
I hear it's a very weird movie, so I'm looking forward to that.
It's great.
I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait because Dead Pit said such awesome things about it, and I've been a fan of Dead Pit for a while. I'm looking up at my shelf to see if I can think of like a really weird movie, like weird horror. It's really tough. I think that, and we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but I think a really good weird one is Bad Taste. And it's not like in a top 10 list of mine or anything like that, but it's really weird. Like there's this awful squelchy kind of gore effects where they use like real calves' brains and stuff like that. And like the thing, never mind. Okay, I'm sorry, I just got off on a tangent. Never mind. The weirdest horror movie I've ever seen is another Peter Jackson horror movie, strange enough. And it's called Meet the Feebles.
Oh
yes!
Oh, what? Oh man.
Have you guys seen Meet the Feebles?
yes.
I got the VHS copy.
Oh gosh. I saw it on YouTube because I got in a mood where I was like, I want to watch all of Peter Jackson's stuff ever. And I got about as far as Meet the Feebles. And oh man, I saw it on YouTube it was gloriously weird and awful. And it's like if the Muppets were in some kind of gritty, grungy 42nd Street grindhouse kind of hell. It's just fantastic. There's like rabbits crapping in toilets and you see the crap, and oh man. And there's like flies that eat the crap and stuff. Oh, it's
I haven't seen it
simultaneously
yet, but
not just a,
I've heard about it.
it's not just a weird movie, it's like a really gross movie too. And it'll like ruin your perceptions of like anything good about claymation or puppet movies or like anything. Like immediately the first thing that comes to my mind even when I watch a Muppets movie now is just Meet the Feebles. Oh gosh. And there's like weird sex scenes between these puppets. I think it even shows penetration at some point. It's weird.
Is it?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
No, seriously. At the first, I don't mean to interrupt you, man, but I need to get this out. The first scene of the movie, you see a walrus fucking a cat.
Yeah. This is
so messed up.
It's really bad. But it's so weird and bad and like disgusting that it deserves like a 2-disc deluxe collector's edition on Blu-ray. It's that weird. Like I want some type of a Blu-ray where I can see Peter Jackson talk about his process making this horrible, like morally objectionable movie.
Hey, RedBand, you want me to send you the behind the scenes of that? I know where to get a copy of that actually. Where they actually
Great.
talking about it and stuff.
Yeah.
They gave him this whole huge harbor to shoot this thing on.
Oh man.
And oh my god, it was crazy. You find this thing like at video stores. Oh
Man.
Meet the Feebles is a great one. That movie is uber weird. I mean,
it's a weird movie.
It's a perfect like capper to the three. It's like Bad Taste, Dead Alive, and then Meet the Feebles.
Have ever been made, but it was, and the fact that it was, the biggest testament to it is that it is a movie. So, yeah.
I know. I've heard about that film. I have not.
I guess that's all
seen
I
it,
got.
but I've heard about it. I've heard about it. I've heard about all that stuff, but I have not seen it yet.
My screen, but maybe I'm just talking over it. Yeah.
Can you
What's
hear us
that?
now?
Definitely frozen up.
Can you hear us, Steve?
I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. We lost you for a second.
Sorry, Google Plus. You know how Google Plus is.
Well, it's not just Google Plus. It's living out in the country during a rainstorm. So Google
Hey guys, I'm
Plus,
sorry to have to do this.
rainstorm, the country. It's the perfect storm of just awful internet crap. Yeah. Well, there we go. Meet the Feebles. That's my choice. I'll definitely keep watching you guys a little bit later. I'll have to see what you guys did, but I got to get off of here right now. Finals for me are tomorrow, so any positivity you practice, if you pray for me. So, yeah. Anyway, rock on, fellas. It was good to see you.
Rock on, Steve. We're praying for you.
All right.
Amen, dude.
Amen.
Kick his ass.
Amen. All right. So, Gideon, what's the weirdest horror movie you've ever seen? We'll finish on this one.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen some movies in my time. I'm only 15. I've seen everything. Had to go Meet the Feebles.
You agree?
Well, no. The Puppet House Massacre.
Oh.
The Puppet House.
The Puppet House Massacre.
Weird one.
What? I've never seen that.
Explain it to him.
The Puppet House Massacre was very much, how can I say, influenced by Meet the Feebles. Basically, it's about a family who moves into like a remote mill house and spend the night in the Langer mansion. And basically, there's a bunch of these killer puppets.
Dang.
And it has like monsters in his basement.
Whoa.
It's like Sesame Street meets crack.
Yeah, that's pretty true. Sesame Street on crack, baby.
Oh, it's got 5 to 7 stars on IMDb.
Yeah. What would yours be, Nate?
Mine would be a movie. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. I never even knew about it until I watched a documentary where it talked about this movie on it. And it's a movie it's believe it or not, it was Bob Clark before Bob Clark. Now, if you guys know who Bob Clark is, he's the guy who made Christmas Story. He's the guy who made, I believe he made Black Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And this was his very first film, I think. This is a very low budget movie.
Death Dream.
But it's a movie that I thought was really decent. It's not a great horror movie, but it's definitely a decent one for being. When you look at it, for being what it is, it's a decent film. But I don't know if you guys have heard of this movie before, but it's before Bob Clark. He called himself Benjamin Clark. But this is his first movie, Bob Clark, and that is Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Now, have you guys
just lie.
Have you seen this movie before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent film. It's very weird though, because throughout the entire movie there's this very strange tone because of the score, because of the acting, which the acting is not bad. It just feels there's a very weird tone and a very weird feel to the whole film. And I thought it was like well shot for being a low budget. It was well shot. You could say it's a very dark film, but I thought it kind of worked for the film. I thought that the lead guy, what's his name? The lead guy. Oh God, what's his name? He did such a Alan Ormsby did such an over the top job playing his character, but he did such a good job. Like it's over the top, but it's such a good performance as well. The cast didn't really bother me that much. It's a pretty weird film, but I feel like it's a well-made, low-budget zombie flick. I thought the effects were pretty decent for the low budget and time that it was made. So yeah, my pick would be Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things because there's this very weird tone to the whole film. And the lead guy, the guy played by Alan Ormsby, is a very weird character. And it involves like voodoo and witchcraft and then this witchcraft, a fake ritual, which ends up resurrecting the dead. Very, very weird film, but I think it's a very well-made zombie film. For the low budget that it was given, I think it's a pretty decent flick. And it's not that long. It's only 87 minutes long, so for me, it flew by. It's a pretty simple film, but it has a very weird tone to the whole film, for me at least. So my pick would be Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Totally agree. That's a good one. It's a weird one. I also love the alternate title of it's called Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. I really always liked that title better. The other one sounds like a Romero ripoff or something, but Let Sleeping Corpses Lie just sounds like a balls to the walls, like crazy zombie movie. And it totally is. So to end off this roundtable, I guess there's no other better film to talk about than the weirdest horror movie I've ever seen. It's called Mystics and Bally. It is the absolute weirdest movie ever made. Like, I don't think it's even up for
Never heard of it.
It's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it for free. The plot basically, and you can find it online for free. It's not a hard movie to find. It's basically this Indonesian movie. about this girl who's really like into witchcraft, and she's dying to become a witch. So she travels to Indonesia, and like she has this tour guide show around, and she pays him to show her where the witch is, like the witch that lives in Indonesia. And he shows the witch to her, and the witch basically says, "Okay, I'll teach you the ways of witchcraft if you become my vampire servant for a while." So she turns her into a vampire, but she's a vampire with all of her organs hanging from her head and no body. It is the weirdest. It is so funny. It is the funniest thing you will ever watch. It's just so funny. Here, I have this. I swear to God, this is what she turns her into.
Oh,
She's a flying vampire head with all of her organs hanging out of her neck.
cool.
And she flies around eating people.
Something I could be into.
It's so weird, man. It's so balls to the walls out there. And like there are these horrible effects in it, like it almost reminds me of Page Master when the effects come. And there's this scene where like this woman throws up oatmeal. It looks to be like oatmeal covered rats. And she's like, "Ugh, ugh," and like it's just these rats running around in oatmeal, and it's, oh my God, man. If you want to laugh and have a good time, there's no better weird movie to watch than Mystics in Valley. I totally recommend it. It is so fucking weird, crazy, and hilarious all at the same time that it just makes for a perfect recipe of classic horror. I love Mystics in Valley.
Wow, man, that that sounds like a very strange film.
It's out there, man. It's strange. It's a strange film. I agree.
Well, I think that's about it, right?
That's the roundtable, baby.
Well, guys, thanks for watching this roundtable. I'm sure we'll be making some more in the future. We're doing some franchise discussions, retrospectives, all kinds of cool stuff. So this is a really good episode, though. We talked about a lot of themes in this video, in this broadcast. There were a couple of viewers watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much, John Grande and Gideon Morbid. I'm sorry, I forgot the last part. John Grande and Gideon Morbid. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Very, very cool. Very cool broadcast.
Anytime.
Thank you, Steve, if you watched this, for being in this. Thank you so much, Steve, for being in this. And yeah. So that's the end of the broadcast, guys. Thanks for watching. And I will see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, everybody.